Sega.
Shogun-1 was a bit of a covert project for EA.
Was it just we were doing it with their money?
They didn't know that they were funding it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm serious, they didn't kind of know they were doing it. We weren't even going to do Shogun to start with, we were going to do role-playing game based on Monkey. We were starting doing work on Monkey, we started doing a design and we got some prototypes together and then Command & Conquer came out. We looked at that and thought, no, this is easy, we could do this, we could do it really quickly. Much easier than doing a role-playing game based on Monkey.
That's why when I started at the office, there were all these Monkey books all over the place. And I couldn't figure out why.
That must be so weird. Just come in and just be like,
The battles on their own didn't have enough gameplay to stand up as a game on their own, so we had, it needed something else, either some strategy putting into the battles, like other RTSs, or a wrapper around them. And we went for the wrapper option.
Also narrative as well, because the battle in itself is nothing. I mean, it was just kind of shallow in a way, whereas the campaign also gives you a narrative, kind of a self kind of.
Yeah, you write your own story.
Write your own story. The biggest appeal for me when I got really big time into medieval was that I always loved history, and this was a chance for me to actually change history and kind of.
So Poland can win this time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Poland did win. Now then, we dominated the world. In my world,
dominated all the world of Poland.
The whole world. The whole world was Poland.
Europe
was just, it was amazing. It was just, I could change history, sculpt it as I wanted it, and it was just, it was great. That's the main thing for me. I mean, it's very general, but that's what appealed to me the most.
I guess, though, the thing about Medieval was it was the first, I mean, Shogun established the whole thing, but Medieval was the first breakaway hit for the series, wasn't it? Like, it really kind of sold and got into homes and got into minds.
It's probably easier content for some people.
It's easier content for a lot of Western people, because you don't have to sell the whole sort of Robin Hood Knights.
No, everybody understands that. They understand
history.
You kind of know.
But you see, this is the argument of the familiar versus the cool. Right, because the theme of Shogun, although people aren't always familiar with the history, it's incredibly cool. It's an incredibly interesting period.
Everybody likes it when you explain. Oh, it's samurai and ninjas, and big swords.
But
and all that sort of
the medieval
stuff.
period, the medieval period is immediately accessible because it is common history for pretty much every nation in Europe. And even the Americans have a vague idea.
The North American history is essentially European
history, right? Exactly. Before the Exodus.
Medieval history is far more insane than Japanese history.
People are kind of enthused about the whole idea of doing medieval history because they thought they loved the stuff.
It was awesome. That was where I came into it.
Me too. That was my favourite.
That was my favourite Total War game. It was the first one I came into.
That's when I realised.
Still my favourite period of history.
Yeah, exactly.
So medieval was all about taking what we'd done with Shogun and making it perfect. So it was all about evolution. It was about taking each different area of the game and just pushing it forward and taking it as far as it could go with that engine. We started off when we started on Med 1. We also started on Rome at the same time. So the whole idea was that we'd do an evolution and a revolution in parallel.
The problem is that doing history about Rome was that you were essentially trying to reconstruct the resistance from Gestapo reports.
Yeah.
You've only got the Roman side of it, so they're going, these guys are nutcases. Look at them, they're 18 feet tall with a single eye and they can spit fire.
And they say un-PC things.
Yeah, and they're appalling.
It's actually quite good for us,
Yeah, but we also know that it's palpable nonsense that these guys weren't 18 feet tall.
We should literally take that.
Yeah, we do.
The idea of Rome, though, was revolutionary. The idea was we didn't want somebody else to be the team that beat us. We had
to be our own beaters.
So we set up a second team and said, okay, you beat us.
I think the campaign map was definitely felt very different.
Yeah, so it went from region-based to grid-based campaign, full 3D on the troops.
I like the idea though of having your own competition in-house.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause, I mean, every studio always says, "Oh, we've got to do the best and beat ourselves," kind of thing. But actually, by having two teams and having them looking over each other's shoulders, and going, "Well, actually, doing a better job than you," so meh. It is. Okay, you've got everybody. When you talk to them about the original games, they always mention the Holy Trinity. Okay, you've got Shogun 1, Medieval 1, and Rome. Right, and everybody talks about those as the golden years of when they came in.
But
their youthful
it's
memory.
like comics; they're always going to be the golden.
But Rome doesn't fit. Of
No,
those
it
three
doesn't,
things,
no. No,
Rome
Rome is
doesn't
different.
fit. Rome
Yeah.
is utterly different to the first two,
Yeah.
right? And yet it has this universal appeal, which is
It's the
either down to
subject.
theme, or
It's the
right?
subject.
It's,
It's the subject.
And it's a best-selling
Everybody
as well.
seems.
It's the most-
Everybody,
Well, no,
you
it's
know,
not just the subject. It is actually an excellent game.
It is no, it is
yeah.
genuinely
But-
a
And it was,
game.
and it was a first.
It's
as well.
another
It
one
was more
where
of a first than
you
the
say
others.
to
It was
somebody,
more-
"You are Caesar," and they instantly go, "Oh, Spartacus, Caesar." And in Cleopatra, they know it kind of already. You know, pyramids,
Yeah.
Swords and sandals.
swords and
Swords and
sandals.
sandals. There was a wave of.
And there was,
also,
a, and there was a
it
hot.
was-
We were lucky because movies like Gladiator hit.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, I
around the same
remember, yeah.
time. And
But also, it was so much
we just
more of a
got- we
jump
just rode
than any
that
other
wave.
game. It was so much newer and bigger and better than any other game
Oh,
at
it
the
was
time.
big in
so it
Shogun,
was,
yeah.
so yeah, so that's what it was. I mean, Shogun was a
Should be about something
little
expensive.
genre kind of bending.
There
Kind
were
of
some
thing.
really
I mean,
good-
at the time when Rome came out, there was nothing else quite like it.
No, true,
You
that's
know,
true.
of that scale. I mean, you look at Shogun, you look at anything, it looks kind of like a geeky kind of niche game. But you look at Rome and you think Hollywood. You know, that's what it was.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what.
There was a deliberate effort to
Yeah.
squeeze Hollywood into it.
Hollywood into the game, yeah.
Epic was the.
Epic
Was the word? Yeah,
Oh,
epic
that was the word. for-
Dominatus.
No. It was for Rome. It was Imperator.
Empire was a fun one because that's where I came in, and I remember coming into Empire. And I've worked on other software projects and bits and pieces before, but I remember coming into Empire and seeing it, and it was the first time it was literally like, you know, kind of walking into Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, and because I remember, you know, having played all the games and been a massive fan and everything else, and then kind of coming through the doors and wondering how sausages are made. Yeah, it was an interesting experience, and it was definitely a real eye opener to come in and to see something like that. I think with Empire.
Shattered.
Well, Empire was definitely the biggest, most ambitious thing that we've
Ever done.
attempted.
We were mental.
But
Not only
absolutely.
in period and scope, but also the fact that we were rewriting everything from scratch.
And we added in.
It's like
and
we almost wanted every challenge in the book. wasn't it? It
And
was like,
we added a third game.
Let's have naval battles as well.
yeah.
You know?
Then we had the naval battles, yeah.
And let's do it in half the time of Rome.
I think that's one of the things that people don't
While we're at it,
necessarily
we'll move
appreciate.
off
We
this.
actually make 3 games.
We do, yes.
We make the campaign map. That's a game. We make the battles. That's a game. And the naval.
Naval
That's a
battles,
game
three
as well.
games.
Frankly,
I mean,
the UI is quite fun as well.
Technically, truthfully, you could also count the multiplayer as a game on its own. Although it's using those game modes, but
More so now.
Also
more so
Shogun.
now,
We're
more so
doing
Shogun
Shogun
2, yeah.
Shogun 2
It's a
multiplayer.
completely separate.
Definitely, but that's just
It's the fourth game.
Yeah.